Hi, I'm Matt with Keeping a YYC. Today we're joined by Mike Lee of Talee Renovations. How are you today, Mike?
Doing great, man. How are you guys?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking. We'll get right into it though. Tell us a little bit about your business, Talee Renovations.
Well, thanks for doing this, Matt and Casey. Talee Renovations, we've been around for about 13 years. Native Calgarians doing mostly residential renovations and remodeling here in town and in the area. And using all local tradesmen, of course. And really proud of the work we do. Want to make sure that we build things right and that it's beautiful.
Perfect. So in this current environment, what have you been doing to adapt, or is your business not super affected? What's your status?
Well, I definitely say we're affected like a lot of other people, Matt. There's just a lot of trepidation of having people actually in your home. So for our clients, that's an issue, but we still have projects going on, which we're very grateful for. And we've had to change a lot of our practices around, disinfecting and containing our work areas. So if you can imagine, all the materials have to be disinfected before they go into a house or a client's home. All our guys have to be checking and confirming that they're asymptomatic and those kind of things. So things do take a little bit longer, but they're certainly necessary measures.
Okay, so you're just being very diligent about ensuring that people are comfortable with you in their homes during this time.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in general, what do you think people can do right now to help support local businesses, such as yourself and others?
Matt, it's a great question, and I think it's like I said, it's great what you guys are doing, because it brings to mind that we do have to think a lot more locally in these times. As easy as it is to phone skip the dishes, or one of the delivery services for food and beverage, they take a big cut from our local business operators. And it's something you could call the restaurant or the bar directly. You go pick it up yourself. You get a little outing. That's kind of nice. And they're not paying 20 to 30% of their revenue to a delivery service. But like for us, we're using local trades, of course. Materials come from a lot of different places. There's not a lot of tile makers in Calgary or drywall manufacturers in Calgary that we can rely on. But for the most part, we're able to use local trades, as we've always done, to come in and do the work. And that's usually the bulk of our project anyways.
Okay. So the last question we have for you is, are there any tips and tricks that you can share with people in relation to your expertise in renovations?
Well, when it comes to renovations, Matt, some things you want to think about, and we always kind of make the joke that so many people did it wrong that they were able to make a whole TV channel out of it. So from that, you just want to be mindful, and people are becoming a lot more educated, which is excellent. But be empowered to ask the questions you need to ask, and that you want to feel comfortable with the answers that you need to get, so you can proceed. That that all the details are taken care of. Like if someone has an estimate, and on the estimate, the written estimate, it says plumbing and a number, and it doesn't describe all those things that are included in that number, you have lots of questions to ask. So make sure that whatever contractor you're dealing with is very detail oriented. Ask for licenses, and that's a really important one. In Alberta, where we have consumer protection from Service Alberta, that has things like the prepaid contractor license, where the contractors are not legally allowed to take any payments before completion unless they have this license and the bond registered with the province behind it. So protect yourself as a consumer. Ask for their insurance, a copy of their insurance certificate, to make sure that those things are covered in the worst case that someone gets hurt or there's property damage. And make sure that you as a client aren't liable for any bodily injury or anything like that to any of the tradesmen that come on your site. So that's covered with WCB, the Workers' Compensation Board. Ask lots of questions and be very, very satisfied with the answers. And if you're not, you can certainly move on. There's lots and lots of great contractors here in Calgary.
Okay, so really just making sure that what people are presented with as a quote or option for their renovation and contracting services is just very detailed, very clear, and people understand exactly what the scope that they're being presented with, so that there's no surprises in the future when the work is actually being conducted or completed.
That's a huge one. Like I'm sure everyone knows somebody that has a real kind of nightmare experience around a renovation or a project where change orders balloon to 30-40%. They would ask a contractor something and say, well, that's not included, that's additional. Make sure the details are there. In that quote, anything that is known in terms of materials should be specified and detailed. There should be make and model numbers, if not allowance amounts, and you should understand how material allowances work. What do you do what happens if you go over? What happens if you're under? Those kind of things. There should be a schedule and timeline, and the contract should be written, so that that you and the contractor can hold each other accountable.
Okay. So maybe kind of a silly question, me myself not being in construction, is in somebody in your position, if you're dealing with a number of different contractors, it's going to be your responsibility, I guess, to present the customer with a comprehensive proposal that has all those subcontractors' scope of work all clearly detailed and everything in there as well, right? Is that your role, or how does that work?
Well, great question. And Matt, you're an engineer, so you're going to love this answer because it's all about details and specifications. Okay. So if you're a general contractor like we are, we assemble and have a team of subcontractors, sub-trades that are all responsible to us. But you as a client, your relationship and your agreement is with the general contractor. Yeah. So when you hire a general contractor, they're the ones that have to do all the back and forth, the scheduling, all the correspondence, managing all the administration and payments to all the sub-trades for all the material supplies. You as a client have one number to call if anything goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's really nice as a client, okay? And lots of people like to do it themselves, and they want to general contract the project themselves. They have to source all those sub-trades, purchase all the materials, all those kind of things. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a full-time job for me as it would be for anybody else. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Good to know. Well, that clears that up for me for sure.
Well, it's a really important question, and something that people need to know is when you hire a general contractor, yes, you're paying extra. Yes, we mark up materials, we mark up sub-trades, we mark up our own labor because we have a crew of people ourselves. But that's what that markup pays for. It pays for you being able to just look at the work at the end of the day or as it's going on and saying, hey, is this right? I thought we meant to do it like this. And that you have only one person to talk to about that, that will just be able to answer those questions for you, which is, you want that accountability. If you, there's a lot of cases, and this is what, a general contractor like me might work with is, there's a painting deficiency, and the painter says, well, I think it was a drywaller. And the drywaller goes, well, no, it was a painter. So, you eliminate all of that by having a general contractor to take care of that for you.
Absolutely. Sleep a little easier at night.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you will. And at the same time, I always kind of joke around with clients and say, before they go into it, I go, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not as fun as, like I said, a half an hour TV show. It's not as fun as that. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time. The novelty wears off around day 2. And you've got all these people coming into your house and doing work and disrupting your lives. If the coronavirus pandemic hasn't taught you that you can go a little stir crazy in your house, it's, I won't say it's the same because it's certainly not, but you get those kind of effects with people coming in and on your house over, say, 2 or 3 weeks for a bathroom renovation, or even longer if you're renovating your whole main floor, like if you can imagine that for 2 months. So yeah, people have to make sure they're ready for it.
Absolutely. So that's actually all the questions that I had for you at this time. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, Mike. We do ask that you end off the interview by looking into the camera and stating your name as well as your business name, and just asking the people that are watching to keep it local, keep it YYC. Are you ready?
Sure. Hi, I'm Mike Lee from Talee Renovations right here in Calgary. And we want to encourage everybody to keep it local and to keep it YYC.